That's it. And then we're streaming. I probably should mute everybody as well, can't I? Shouldn't I? Just for now. If you wave at me if you've got some questions or whatever, but you shouldn't really need to at this point. Right, okay, so if you want to get yourself standing up and get yourself a bit of room, apart from that, obviously, and then we're just going to start slowly swinging your arms back and forward. And just be aware of the muscles on your shoulders. You may or may not feel it in your neck. Not all the way up, Alex, just really gently like this. So they only come up about as high as your shoulders. Not like this, not yet. Just up to your shoulders, really gentle. So you're just getting used to that swinging movement. And quite a lot of the movements that we use are really kind of natural, very easy movements. When you think about it, it's deceptively simple in many ways, really, because it doesn't feel, you wouldn't think it's necessarily doing much compared to, you know, say using some gym equipment and this, that, and the other. But in actual fact, it's just what your body needs, really. It's just to gently move and loosen up. You know, it's a bit like when you go for a walk. You know, may or may not realise it, but your arms start gently swinging. And that's one of the reasons that walking's good for you. It's only one of the reasons, of course, but it is a reason. Okay, just stop there. Just let your arms slowly come to a stop. Don't just stop them. Just let them slowly stop. And you'll notice they don't want to just suddenly stop. And if they just kind of slowly stop like a pendulum, that's a good sign that they're a bit more relaxed. Okay, so before we do anything else, just want to take a nice big deep breath. So in through your nose, just nice big breath. Try and breathe into your tummy if you can, and I'll explain that in a second. And you'll find what happens is your chest lifts up and your shoulders probably lift up. And maybe try breathing into your tummy instead. So maybe see if your tummy goes out more than your chest comes up. It doesn't really matter too much, but just be mindful and see if that happens. Good stuff. And then we'll come back to the arms again. Just nice and gentle. Only bringing your arms up as high as your shoulders at the front at the moment. And just try and keep that breathing nice and soft. Good. And then we're going to bring the arms up. So bring your arms up overhead and let your arms fall down. Feel that gravity. Just be aware of it. You might find it's almost like shaking your hands out as they come down. You kind of get a bit of shaking kind of sensation. And obviously as you're coming up with your arms really high now, it's a different movement on your shoulders. It's slightly more intense on your neck and your shoulders and your upper back. I definitely wouldn't say it was intense, but you can definitely feel it more, especially if your back is tight. You'll notice it. And also, as your arms come down, maybe swing them out behind you a bit further now. And again, if at any point that feels like it's a bit much, just take it right back down to a really nice, simple, really easy. Even if you're just doing a gentle little dangle at the side of your arms where they're barely moving, it's still useful. That's it. And then slowly just let them come down to a natural kind of stop. That's it. And what it does, it makes you a little bit more aware of your shoulders. By letting them just kind of do what they want to do, you become a bit more aware of them. Okay, now we're going to try spinning. So what's going to happen is your hands, if you just start doing it, if you just allow your arms to swing out, you'll notice if you do it gently, your arms don't swing out very far. If you do it faster, they naturally come up further. But for now, we're just going to start gently. And you'll notice your arm at the front, your hand will swing round and it'll just tap your hip. And you'll notice the hand at the back taps the back of the other hip, if that makes sense. And now you're getting a bit of a twist in your spine as well as loosening up the shoulders. And if you can, just soften your knees a little bit and keep your hips tilted forward. So in other words, this way rather than sticking your bum out. So you're standing nice and tall. The idea of softening your knees is it just gives you a little bit of kind of suspension. Makes it a little bit easier to move. And it just allows your hips to move a little bit further. And again, you haven't got to try hard. I mean, the good thing about this is as hard as it gets. You know, you won't work up a sweat doing this, which is why it's great if you can just take a little break at work. You're just going to loosen up. Imagine if you're stuck on a computer all day. Just being able to maybe do this, whether it's on the video or whether it's live with me, just is enough to hopefully loosen you up, give you a bit of positivity. The thing is, fitness and healthiness are a different thing. This isn't going to keep you fit, but this is hopefully going to help to keep you healthy. It's a different thing. Good. Just back to the middle again. Have a little shake out of your shoulders. Maybe do some circles. Maybe do a few going the other way. And then back again. Good. Another nice deep breath. And hopefully just have a little focus on your shoulders. How do they feel? How's your neck and shoulders feeling at this point? Just take a little breath and just focus on how they feel. And the breathing, again, it's a really useful thing to do. Taking a deep breath every now and then. There has been an argument that that's one of the things that smokers get out of smoking is that inhale and that exhale. You can actually do it without a cigarette and still get quite a nice feeling. You know, breathing, we underestimate sometimes the importance of just taking a breath. Okay, take your head down to your chin. Sorry, your chin down to your chest, I should say. And stick it to your chest. And then just pivot on the chin, left and right. See if you can feel if there's any tension in your neck. And you can just kind of wobble about at any speed. Slowly is probably better. Just trying to loosen up. Good. Then back up. Then just take your head back. And feel the compression in those same muscles. You can feel you're squeezing them now. Again, just move only maybe a couple of centimeters. Just feel if you can feel what's going on with those muscles. And then back down again. Good stuff. Then back up. Okay. So what we're going to do now, again, try and keep this kind of feeling of just feeling nice and loose while you're doing this. So you're just really easy. Remember, that's all we're trying to do is try and get and feel nice and loose. That's all we're trying to do, really, is trying to get back to a slightly more grounded, slightly more relaxed place. So, you know, it's not, we're not trying to do much more than that, really. Well, I'll explain a bit more about that later. Anyway, so knees are nice and soft, hips are facing forward, and just twist around. What you can do is put your arms up like a boxer and just twist around to the left. And take a breath in there, and you'll feel that when you breathe in, you'll find you are definitely breathing into your belly. Because when you take a twist, you don't have any choice. So that's what it feels like to breathe into your belly. Now, the reason we go on about belly breathing is it's better for you. Diaphragmatic breathing is its correct term. It's more relaxing. It engages your parasympathetic nervous system. So it's good for anxiety, relaxation, all sorts of things like that. And you're going to come around the other way, face the other way. And again, you're breathing into your diaphragm or your lower lungs. Feels like you're breathing into your tummy though. And of course, you're getting a spinal twist as well at the same time. You may feel it in your shoulders, may feel it in your back. Back to the center. Keep your arms up. And can you Take another breath, and if you do, does it feel like it's still in the same place? Does it still feel like it's in your tummy? Don't worry too much if it doesn't, but ideally it will still feel like it's in your tummy. And that's one of the easiest ways to learn how to breathe correctly. That's a relaxing breathing. If you're stuck in traffic, or if you're, here, there, or whatever, that kind of breathing is a really nice thing to do. It's good for you. Okay, take your neck, your face, your head into. I'm getting all my terminologies mixed up. Take this bit on the top of your shoulders and turn it to the left. So you're looking over your shoulder, roughly 90 degrees, and you're getting you should be feeling a stretch in your neck. And try and keep that nice, gentle breathing going if you can. And then we're going to come back the other way, so you're looking over your other shoulder. Again, you're looking to try and feel a stretch in your neck. And back the other way. And then once more back again the other way. Good. And then back to the beginning. Okay, so we're going to do a couple of forward bends. I want to sort of just plant a little bit of a thought in your mind while you're doing this, so we don't start going off and thinking about shopping lists and moving house and all these kinds of things. I want you to imagine that this practice that you're undertaking is good for you physically and mentally, because it's a mind and body practice. It's literally about combining the two things. But I want you to not just think about how it's good for you, but think about how it's also good for the people around you. So it could be a partner, it could be a family, the kids, it could be the people you work with, the girl behind the till at Tesco's. It could be, if you were more relaxed and felt better in yourself, think of how that affects everybody else around you. And ideally, if they were doing it, how it would affect you as well. Okay, so while we're doing those forward bends, maybe just kind of mull that idea around in your head a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to bend your spine. I'm just trying to show you there. So you want to curl it up. You start at the top, and it kind of curls down. Does that make sense? So we don't just do bend. We slowly curl the spine down like that. Okay, so first of all, you're going to just drop your head. And then if you gently start to lean forward, you'll notice your shoulders come forward. There's another couple of vertebrae moving. Keep your tummy pulled in, not excessively, but just don't let it bulge out too much. Keep your tummy pulled in and just slowly allow your arms to go down your legs. And that's you gently uncurling your spine. You can go really slowly. You can go as slow as you like. We don't have to do it at the same speed. Just really nice and slow. And allowing gravity to take you towards the floor. But don't push yourself down there. Just see how far you naturally want to get to. And at some point you'll go, oh yeah, maybe my lower back's had enough of this now, or whatever. When you get to that point, just come up a few centimeters so it's comfortable. Take a nice deep breath in. And then as you breathe out, just let yourself go down again. And you might find you just go a little bit further. Might only be a couple of centimeters, but it still might be a bit further. And then just relax there for a second. You can kind of twitch your shoulders if you want. If anything feels a bit stiff and achy, have a look for it. See if you can loosen it up slightly. Then come back up again, just a couple of centimeters. Take a deep breath, and as you breathe out, go down again. Again, see if there's any more. It doesn't matter if there isn't, but just see if there's any more there. Good. And then from this position, if you move your hips from side to side ever so slightly, you'll notice your arms start to dangle and they start to swing around. And what I find is that quite easily they start to move in what feels like a figure of eight. It's actually just a couple of circles, but it feels like a figure of eight. See if you can get your arms doing that thing where they're just gently swinging. And the idea of this is that, again, you're just using a bit of gravity and the weight of your arms to pull on the muscles in your back and your shoulders to some extent to just loosen up. If, by the way, you're particularly flexible and you are virtually touching the floor, you can just fold your arms and still do pretty much the same kind of thing. Or just come up a little bit if you want to. Most of us won't be touching the floor, I suspect. I can see it from here, but that's about it. And then as you keep that movement going, just gently coming up a little bit. The movement may or may not continue as you slowly come up in your own time, coming up to standing. But when you're ready, don't rush. So you just bring it up nice and slow and enjoy that kind of dangly feeling and using gravity like that. It's a movement that you don't often use. It's quite an unusual one. Okay. And then put your hands onto the back, your hips, and just lean back. Keep your head tilted forwards rather than looking over. And just pushing your tummy right out, feeling that back bend. Then we're going to do another forward bend, but we're going to do it much quicker. So just, again, furling down, just coming all the way down. And then coming back up again. Another little back bend when you're ready. Take your time. And then we're there. Okay, so today I'm running slightly over. Can you, is there anybody who needs to go like bang on past? Is it okay if I run over by about 5 minutes? Is that okay? Can I get a thumbs up if that's okay? Great stuff. Otherwise, I'll be rushing things around a little bit. Okay, great stuff. Okay, so we're going to do a bit of a self-massage. So if you just take your fingers and just start doing little circles, you can use all your fingers or a couple of fingers or one finger. But you're basically just trying to loosen up your forehead. Starting in the middle. I tend to use every finger because it just covers lots of different areas at once, but it's entirely up to you how you want to do it. Just loosening up your forehead and slowly working your way round to the temples. And again, the speed is up to you. I find I tend to start quite quickly, and then I kind of seem to slow down when I realise I'm supposed to be relaxing. So however you want to do it. And then from the temples, slowly working your way down to the jaw muscles. Good stuff. And then from there, taking your thumbs underneath your chin and your fingers on top and just feeling along the jawbone, back and forward, just stretching the muscles either side. So your thumb's doing basically the top of your neck underneath your jawbone, and your fingers are doing the jawline. And just have a bit of explore, really, along that area. You kind of get to know where your teeth are. Useful, maybe. Good stuff. And then, subject to makeup and all those kinds of things, come back to your eyebrows and pinch along your eyebrows as if you're trying to pull your eyebrows sort of slightly away from your face. And just having a little bit of a play with the eyebrows. There's all sorts of acupressure points around here. There's tons on the face, and we do kind of cover a couple of them, or a few of them. Pulling along the eyebrows. Give your eyes a little rub, as if you're getting up in the morning. Again, a lot of kind of quite natural, instinctive movements that we use really here, if possible. Rub your nose if it makes yours itch, like it does mine. And then with a couple of fingers at the top of your nose, just start where your eyes and your nose meet. Just tiny little circles. You can use one or two fingers, it's entirely up to you. And then follow the line of your nose, where it meets your face. Just following, so not the end of your nose, but the bit that meets your face. Just following that line, and sure enough, you'll find you start bumping into the top of your teeth there. And follow that line around. Again, you can feel where the bones are. Cheekbones, isn't it, I suppose, these ones. And just following that around. Good stuff. And then see if you can just fill any gaps, any bits that we've missed. And the way to do that quite often is to just do a quick stretch, maybe like an A-E-I-O-U, kind of like a big, and by the way, if you want to, you can move away from the camera when you're doing this. It's entirely up to you. I'll leave that down to you. But, you know, if you do a big, like a yawn, you can always do a, like a fake yawn and see where, if you can find anything that needs a bit of a loosen up. That's it. And then you can take your entire palm of your hand and just give your face a bit of a rub. Maybe go around the ears, little pull around the outside of the ears. Tons of acupressure points there as well. Pulling on your earlobes. And then we're going to come round to the neck. Now, your skull, let's just say this is the base of your skull. You've got two lots of muscles that come up at the back. I've got to find a better way to explain this. I tell you what, if you have a feel around the back, you'll feel you've got your spine going right down the middle of your neck, and it disappears up into your skull. And either side of that is quite a thick group of muscles. We want to try and work on those, and we want to particularly try and work on them where they meet the skull. So imagine if you could try and push up and inwards into that skull bone. And if you get in quite severely, actually, by pushing your fingers up and underneath the skull, and if you want, you can just use one hand at a time. And what you're looking for is tender areas. It might feel just a bit tender or a bit bruised, and you're kind of looking for those kinds of areas. This is an excellent way to get rid of headaches, by the way, because most or many headaches are tension headaches, and a lot of the tension that causes a headache is around about this area. So if you ever get yourself a headache, try this. And these are pressure points. I learned this when I did a course on on-site massage. Really useful and very interesting thing, uses acupressure points. And you're really trying to, as I say, root around and try and find these tender areas. And you can use a knuckle, you can use your fingers. It can be quite hard. You've got to push quite hard sometimes to get it. And don't forget to breathe while you're doing it. And I find usually rubbing around in circles helps me to locate the area, and then I can kind of dig in and push quite hard. As I say, I'm using fingertips at the moment, changing arms because, you know, you can get tired doing this quite quickly, actually. And then the other thing you can do is get your fingers on one side. Imagine if this is my neck here. You can get your fingers on one side, your thumb on the other side. I don't know if you can see that. And just be pulling, squeezing like that. Or you can get your entire palm and squeeze like that. So grab your neck, 4 fingers on one side, the actual heel of your hand. Is it the heel? This bit of your hand on the other side, and just having a good old squeeze. Sometimes that's a little bit easier. Change hands if you need to, because obviously you get a different approach. Good stuff. Nice big breath. Shake your shoulders around a little bit. And just take a moment. See how you feel. You may or may not feel drastically different, but imagine if you were doing this on a regular basis. This just is a nice thing to do on a regular basis. This is the idea of it. Okay, so I'm just mindful of the time. So if you want to get yourself somewhere nice to sit down, just somewhere so you can just sit down nice and comfy. I'm going to do the same. Okay, couple of deep breaths. And just relax into your chair. Now, you can close your eyes if you want to. It's entirely up to you. I don't mind. Or you can look at Elvis behind me, whatever you want to do. But just try and settle yourself down. This is only going to be, maybe 5 minutes or so. Okay, so take a nice deep breath and just settle into your chair. Just kind of check in. Here I am right now, doing something which is good for myself, a bit of self-care, a bit of time for myself. So there's nothing else to do for the next few minutes, just this. So just try and enjoy, if you like, this moment. Settle your breathing down. Just be aware of how your neck feels now, how your shoulders feel now, how your face feels, how these exercises and little things that we've been doing have maybe changed how you were feeling half an hour ago. You can wriggle around if you want to, if it makes you more comfortable. And then just become aware of your breathing. Become aware of the chair that you're sitting in, how your back is making contact with the chair, how the backs of your legs and your bum are making contact with the chair, how your feet are making contact with the floor. And just settling down. And then we're going to go back to this idea that I mentioned earlier. Imagine how undertaking this kind of practice, whether it's this particular practice or whether it's something entirely different. It could be going for a walk in the woods. It could be going for a walk on the beach. It could be joining a yoga class. Imagine how undertaking a practice which is good for your mind and body will benefit you, but will also benefit the people around you. I just want you to take a moment to think how that feels and how that would impact the people around you if you could develop a healthy habit and stick with it, whatever that habit might be. It might be cutting out carbs. It could be anything. And just acknowledging that that is a decision, that is a mindset. You make a decision to try and do something and stick with it. And how does that benefit your family? What if your family did it as well? How does it benefit the people you work with? We were saying last week, what if everybody was 10% more relaxed? Everybody in the world was 10% more relaxed just by doing something like this. How would that help? How would that benefit you? How would it benefit them? And just by undertaking something simple on a regular basis, and this is the key thing, whatever you choose to do, if you do it on a regular basis, it has a cumulative effect. Any of you who've tried meditation or going to the gym or anything like that will hopefully understand that if you can stick with it, it has a cumulative effect. And this practice that we're doing now is designed to help with that. Excuse the noise, that's the dog coming to say hello. Talking of dogs, a good example of a cumulative effect is my last dog I had for 9.5 years. We walked pretty much every day for about an hour. And I calculated that equates to 10,000 miles. I had to do the maths 2 or 3 times to make sure I got it correct. It's a really good example of how doing something on a regular basis can really build up. But it's also a very good example of how doing it for the people around you, or in this case, for the dog, the people who benefited from me undertaking that healthy habit were me, because I got regular exercise, my dog because he got regular exercise, my other half because it meant we could keep a dog. So I suppose that's a really good example of how undertaking a healthy habit can be good for you and the people around you. So maybe for the rest of the day, or at some points in this day, you could just have a little moment to reflect on the healthy habits that you do and how they help you and how they help the people around you. And if maybe it's time to make a change on any of those, maybe to step up, or maybe to modify. And then just slowly, when you're ready, just going to bring your attention back to the room, back to where you are, and back to getting on with your day. You can open your eyes whenever you feel ready. There's no rush. Maybe take a deep breath if you want to. And that basically is that. That's what we do. That's how we do it. We'll change it on a fairly regular basis. As you may have noticed, there's 3 different sections there that we did. And basically we loosen up, and then we did the self-massage. We might change that. There's all sorts of different things which would be in that middle section that I want to try and share with you. And then at the end, we'll do this kind of visualization, positive visualization. And some of those things, I've got a list of things that we could cover, but in the longer term, that will depend on feedback from you. So you get a little bit of a loosen up, and you get a bit of positivity, and hopefully we do it mostly we're at 36 minutes now, so we're not far over half an hour. And that would do, again, that may change depending on what you guys decide you do and don't want. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I'm going to turn off the broadcast because that's all they need for that.